Good morning, children. So I am present again with the same lesson, the rat trap. So children, in the last class we have seen that the peddler walking and walking and walking in the forest got extremely tired and then he lay on the ground. But the moment he laid his head on the ground, he heard some sound. Actually, it was the sound of hammer. So, gathering all his strength, anyway, he stood up and hoping that there must be some people nearby. He started walking towards the place from where the sound was coming. And then he reached a factory, Ramzu Iron Works, because the sound was coming from there. Now let's see. During one of the long dark evenings, just before Christmas, the master smith and his helper sat in the dark forge near the furnace waiting for the pig iron which had been put in the fire to be ready to put on the anvil. Every now and then one of them got up to stir the glowing mass with a long iron bar, returning in a few moments, dripping with perspiration, though, as was the custom, he wore nothing but a long shirt and a pair of wooden shoes. Children, here the narrator describes one particular evening. He described the incident that took place in one particular evening. As it was the month of December, so in the month of December, in winter season, nights are very long. So, that evening also, the evening was too long, too dark, and the master smith means the head of the blacksmith, the master smith with his helpers, with other blacksmiths, was sitting in forge. Children, the word forge has several meanings. Forge means to make something, to produce something. Forge means also to make an illegal copy of something in order to deceive someone. And when forge is noun, then forge means furnace also. And forge means the shop with furnace also. So here, what is the meaning of forge? The shop. So master smith with his helpers was sitting in the forge near the furnace. And furnace means hearth, fireplace. And in the furnace, they had put some pig iron, means some pieces of raw iron. And they were waiting for those pieces of iron. And from time to time, one of the blacksmiths went to the forge and moved the glowing pieces of raw iron with a bar, with a rod of iron, and then came back. Although it was winter season, but the heat of forge was so intense, so much, that the blacksmith who came back from the forge was full of sweat. His whole body was full of sweat. although he was only wearing a long shirt and wooden shoes. All the time, there were many sounds to be heard in the forge. The big bellows groaned and the burning coal cracked. The fire boy shoveled charcoal into the maw of the furnace with a great deal of clatter. Outside roared the waterfall, and a sharp north wind whipped the rain against the brick-tiled roof. Now, children, here some words are there. Bellow, B-E-L-L-O-W-S. It is always used in plural form. It is a kind of device, kind of tool, which is used to blow the air. Then shovel. Shovel is also a kind of tool which is used to lift some soft and loose material. And when shovel is verb, then shovel means to lift something with the help of shovel. So children, the forge where the blacksmith and the master smith was sitting was full of different kinds of sounds, such as the sound of cracking the coal, the sound of bellows. Sometimes the groaning sound came from bellows. Then the sound made by the fire boy who used to throw from time to time some charcoal into the fire with the help of shovel. So clattering sound came from there. The sound of waterfall which came from outside. The sound of rainfall on the roof which was made up of brick. So the whole atmosphere, the surroundings, the forge was full of various sound. It was probably on account of all this noise that the blacksmith did not notice that a man had opened the gate and entered the forge until he stood close up to the furnace. So maybe due to, on account of means due to, because of, so maybe due to these kinds of sound, when the peddler entered, the blacksmith and the master smith couldn't notice. They could only notice him when he came very close to the forge and stood there. Surely it was nothing unusual for poor vagabonds without any better shelter for the night to be attracted to the forge by the glow of light which escaped through the sooty panes, and to come in to warm themselves in front of the fire. It was natural for a person like the peddler. It was natural for the person like vagabonds to be attracted towards the glow of light which was coming through the window panes. For a person who was without shelter, who had no proper clothes, if that person was being attracted towards the glow of light which was coming from the window, was natural. So, being attracted towards the glowing light which was passing through the window panes, and how are the window panes? Sooty. Here it is given sooty. Sooty means the window panes had become dark due to the dust of smoke. The blacksmith glanced only casually and indifferently at the intruder. He looked the way people of his type usually did, with a long beard, dirty, ragged, and with a bunch of rat traps dangling on his chest. The blacksmith glanced at him, looked at him, but casually, carelessly, without any interest. And how did the peddler look? What was his appearance? The peddler's look was like any kind of peddler. He looked like any kind of beggar. How do a beggar look? How does a beggar look? The beggar looks ragged. The beggar looks dirty. The beggar has generally long beard. So he had also long beard. He was also dirty. He was also in his rag torn clothes. And as he was a peddler, so a bunch of rat traps, a cluster of rat traps were dangling, were hanging down on his chest. He asked permission to stay, and the master blacksmith nodded a hearty consent without honoring him with a single word. Then he sought for the permission to pass his night there, to stay there. Then the master smith, in a haughty way, haughty means arrogant, in an arrogant way, gave him permission, agreed, but didn't speak a single word to greet him, to welcome him. The tramp did not say anything either. He had not come there to talk, but only to warm himself and sleep. So the tramp means vagabond, wanderer. So the tramp also, the peddler also didn't speak anything, because he was also not interested in talking and speaking. He had not gone there to talk. Simply he wanted rest. Simply he wanted to warm himself. In those days, the Ranzo iron mill was owned by a very prominent iron master, whose greatest ambition was to ship out good iron to the market. He worked both night and day to see that the work was done as well as possible. And at this very moment, he came into the force on one of his 90 rounds of inspection. In those days, the master of that iron factory used to be a very prominent personality, was a very prominent figure, was a very renowned person, famous person. His main concern was only the progress of this iron factory. So day and night, he was careful, he was watchful of the work which was going on in the factory. So that time also he came just for inspection, that the work was going on well or not. Naturally, the first thing he saw was the tall ragamuffin who had eased his way so close to the furnace that steam rose from his wet rags. So naturally, when he entered, then the first thing which he saw was the sight of that ragamuffin. Ragamuffin means the person who was in rag, the person who was wearing torn clothes, means the beggar. First of all, when he entered, then he saw the beggar. He didn't behave like the blacksmith and the master smith. The blacksmith and the master smith had ignored him. They had not paid their much attention to him. But he, unlikely, opposite to them, went very close to him, to see him, to see his face, that who he was. The iron master did not follow the example of the blacksmith, who had hardly deigned to look at the stranger. D-E-I-G-N, deign. Deign means bother. They had, Master Smith and the blacksmith had hardly bothered to know about him. But he didn't behave like them. He walked close up to him, looked him very carefully, then tore off his slouch hat to get a better view of his face. He tried to see his face, but when he was not able to see his face carefully, then what did he do? He turned up. He lifted his slouch hat. Slouch hat means his bent hat. He just lifted his bent hat to see his face closely. But of course, it is you, Nils Olaf, he said. How you do look. The man with the rat traps had never before seen the Iron Master at Tromsø and did not even know what his name was. But it occurred to him that if the fine gentleman thought he was an old acquaintance, he might perhaps throw him a couple of kroner. Therefore, he did not want to undeceive him all at once. Then, when he lifted his bent hat, then the Iron Master mistook for him. He mistook for him his old friend. And he told, "Oh, you are Nils Olaf, the beggar, the peddler." Didn't know the Iron Master at all. He had never seen him. Even he didn't know his name. But he thought that maybe he would give him some kroner to know that he was his acquaintance, he was his familiar person. So, he didn't reveal his identity. He didn't tell him at once that he was not his friend, hoping that he would get some kroner from the Iron Master. "Yes, God knows things have gone downhill with me," he said, pretending that he was his old friend. The peddler told that, "Oh, God knows only how bad days I have seen. My luck didn't favor me. That's why I'm in this condition." "You should not have resigned from the regiment," said the Iron Master. "That was the mistake. If only I had still been in the service at that time, it would have happened. Well, now of course you will come home with me." Then the Iron Master told, "Oh, you should not resign from the regiment." Actually, he had one friend. Actually, the Iron Master was also earlier in regiment, working in regiment, and his friend, whom he had just discussed, mentioned, Nils Olaf was also in regiment, and he had resigned from there. So he told that it was your mistake. You should not resign from regiment. And if I would be in the service that time, then I could never let you resign. So okay, anyway, you please come with me to my house. To go along up to the manor house and be received by the owner like an old regimental comrade, that, however, did not please the tramp. Tramp means children, vagabond. But to hear the invitation, the tramp was not happy. He was not pleased. He didn't want to go to his house. He didn't want to be treated like his comrade. Comrade means children, co-worker of the same trade, same union, same party. Colleague of the party, union or trade. So, he told, he was unhappy. He didn't want to go with him. "No, I couldn't think of it," he said, looking quite alarmed. He told, no, he didn't want to go. He thought of the 30 kroner. To go up to the manor house would be like throwing himself voluntarily into the lion's den. He only wanted a chance to sleep here in the forest and then sneak away as inconspicuously as possible. Why did he not want to go? Because he was afraid. He was afraid to think that his stealing would be discovered. Maybe his 30 kroner had stolen would be known. So he didn't want to go. Going to the iron master's house, he thought, would be just like going in the den of lions. So he refused. Okay, children, that's all. Thanks.